Our first class of Selenium for the December 2013 batch. First of all, I want to welcome you all. Thank you for being here on a Saturday morning. That tells a lot about your commitment in learning this tool. And so I'm going to do my best in this next 8 sessions to transfer as much of the knowledge as I can from my side to you. And it's a promise that I would do my best. Now, it is like a handshake, meaning that I do extend my hand and you have to grab it from the other side. So how do we measure that? We measure that in the form of assignments. So I'm going to be giving out 8 assignments, so 1 assignment every class, and I expect you guys to work on those assignments. Now, let me tell you one of the secrets of how to excel, how to get the best out of this training. Now, if you find yourself completing the assignments, if you see that, okay, I am doing everything and I'm doing it right, then consider yourself as learning the tool. If you find yourself, for whatever reason, lagging behind in the assignments, then consider yourself not getting the best out of this training, right? There are no shortcuts to learning. You have to put your hands on, and then you have to try these things, and then only you would excel. So with that said, I will start the training, and this time I'm going to be doing it slightly differently. I mean, the way I usually do it is, we kind of like cover the routine things, but this time I'm going to be relying more on the videos that I've already given you out. So all those who have registered have seen the videos from the previous batches. So what I intend to do this time is I would be anything that is not that popular or not that frequently used in the real life projects. I'm not going to be spending much more time on that. I'll just touch that topic and then move on, but we are not cutting corners. If you feel that we are cutting corners, I would say that that is still to your benefit, because the videos would be there. The videos would be there for you to go back and then watch those videos to see as how I would have done a lot of things in detail. Say, as an example, if we are talking about IDE, Selenium IDE, I intend to start and finish off that topic like in just one session. I don't want to prolong and extend it to more than one session. The reason for that is in the class, we will be spending more time trying to learn the stuff which is very important from a real life projects point of view. All right. Okay. So let us get started. What are we going to do? Basically, the whole idea of learning Selenium is so that you folks who are already working on the project, you should be able to get your things done much faster with a lot more ease rather than struggling and trying to pull your hair out and struggling as where to find the information. This course is all about making it easy for you. Now, for those of you folks who are new to Selenium, you are attending the very first class and want to find out what Selenium is all about. I will be keeping you on your toes, meaning that there's a lot which I would be covering in this session, but I expect you to go back and then watch the videos from my previous classes. Again, I don't want to repeat, but the whole purpose, the whole idea is to give you more of the content that you can put it to use. Okay, so once again, welcome to all of you, and again, I want to thank you for being here. Weekends, when you give away your weekends, that tells a lot about you. That means that there is a real motivation here to learn this, and particularly for those of you folks who are getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning in California and attending this, I really appreciate that effort. I want to thank you for doing this. We have another session today for SOAP UI, and if you feel that you got up so early, so you have time to take a nap between that session between Selenium and SOAP UI, because there's a 3-hour break in between, I guess. Is it 3 hours? This is 11 to 1, and that is 3 to 5. So there's a 2-hour break, so you can still take a nap. This is Eastern Standard Time we are talking about here. All right, so Selenium is what we are doing in this session. What is Selenium? Why do we have to learn Selenium? Now, for those of you folks who have done QTP, QTP is an automated testing tool. When you have your software built by the developers, you have to go and you have to test it. Now, those times are, you know, gone when we used to follow what is called the waterfall methodology, meaning that people would design and then spend time on the designing phase. They would go and then spend time on the development phase. Then only it's going to come to you, and then you would start testing at that point. No, it's not like that. It's a very, very agile methodology that is being used, so it keeps everybody on the toes. The final ultimate goal is to deliver what is called a working software, something which everybody is participating into it, not just the stakeholders, but you yourself is a big part of that team, because you would be testing as things are coming your way. And still, you would go back and they would come back with fixing the bugs, and you have to do the regression testing. So we will be doing something similar to that with our builds. We'll have multiple builds, and we will keep, like a similar scenario here, meaning I would give you a build 1, build 2, build 3. So let's say as an example, in build 3, you would be doing the regression testing for all that was covered in build 1 and build 2. All right. So all this automation is done using some scripting language, like what you have seen in QTP. We have used a language called VB script. Here, you have a choice. You have a choice of using something called Java as the language, or you could be using C#. You could be using Python. You could be using, you know, a bunch of languages out there. Now, in this course, I want to focus totally on Java. Now, here is the deal. I mean, I'm offering you something which will make this a very sweet deal. I have not done this in the previous classes because of the fact that those 8 sessions itself would not do justice to covering everything in the Java language itself. So I couldn't have brought in another language and then do that, say for instance like C# or Python or Perl. But if I find you guys responsive, meaning that if I give you some assignments, you're working on those assignments. I know the holidays are coming and then you guys probably are a little busy. I don't know how many of you, let me just take a look here, how many of you would be celebrating Christmas here. And I mean, I understand decorating your tree might take away much of your time, but probably not many, right? So I can excuse those who are taking time to decorate their trees, but for the rest of you folks who are free, should be able to work on your assignments. So if I find you guys responsive, meaning that completing your assignments and all that, I will squeeze in, some extra topics like how to work with C#.NET and Selenium, right? And I'll squeeze in some more advanced topics as well, like, in one of the sessions we could also be seeing like how to use Cucumber with Selenium, and I'll give you an example of using Ruby as well. Now, but again, no promises because it has to come from both the sides. I mean, if you guys, let's say if we are in session 5, and if I find that you hardly are submitting your assignments for session 2, then there's no point in like going forward and then talking about those things. All right. So all right, let's talk about Selenium. So for Selenium, You have to use a programming language. You have to learn. Many a times I've been getting these questions like, oh, I do not know anything about a programming language. How can I learn Selenium? Now, again, it might sound like I'm repeating because I might have told this on the phone to you folks, but let me reiterate on the fact that, look, Rome was not built in a day, right? I mean, it's not for the sake of saying. I mean, you would appreciate that statement if you have been to Rome. Last this summer, I went to Rome, and I really got amazed by the way the architecture is there. I mean, the buildings and the fact that these things were built like thousands of years ago. So imagine the effort. So all that huge major architecture that they have used, it's not done in a day, right? So you would not be learning Java in a day. So you would have about good 1 month to learn Java. And how much of Java do you need? Are you going to become a programmer who would be building websites, who would be building web applications, who would be building mobile apps? Answer is no, right? You are not. What are you going to do? You will be a automated software tester, not a trainer, but a tester, right? So basically what you would be doing, you would be learning Java from a testing perspective. So how much of Java is needed? You need to know enough of Java that you can, get by doing your daily routine. So that much of Java can be learned probably in like a week's time, maybe less, right? Even if you put like an hour a day. So 5 or 6 hours would be more than enough because there are minor things that you need to know, which not just would be applied in case of Java, but would be applied in case of anything and everything, meaning that if you're working on QTP, you would have done variables, you would have done arrays, you would have done functions, and you would have done some code as using objects, how objects are instantiated, and stuff like that. So you would be doing the same over here, but you would be using a different language like Java. Now, whatever you are learning here is going to become like an asset and would go along with you for a long way as long as you continue to work in software. And let me tell you, software testing is becoming very challenging day by day because of the fact that there are a lot of expectations out of you, unlike in the past, like some manual testing and then you could get by and then make your money. Today they expect you to do a lot more than that. And I don't want to toot my own horn here, but there are a lot of good institutions out there who are imparting these kind of trainings, and that can make our lives a little easy. When I was getting into my software world, about you would say that, oh, come on, you look like an old dude. No, but when I finished my master's in computer science in the year 1997, 1998, now don't tell me that you were not born at that time. I had enough of that. When I say things, people come back and say, oh, I was not even born at that. Come on. You were born in 1997. You were. So, yeah, that is like so. Yeah, they do that, Nick. They say that, oh, come on, I was not even born. In the year 1997, when I was trying to get into the workforce here, I remember those days in New York. We had absolutely no help at all. Nothing at that time. Internet was just coming out. There was just like a single Yahoo as a website. Yahoo itself was like that. Anything is as good as the content, right? So Yahoo did not have much content. They were just like the stories for that day they would talk about. So, it was difficult at that time. I remember spending a lot of time in Barnes and Noble, sitting there, learning all these things. But anyway, fast forward today, you got tremendous help on the internet. A lot of companies like us, Training Right, trying to help you out. So you just put your effort and then, make, good living out of it. The going rate right now for Selenium is somewhere between $55 to $75, and I'm being on the conservative side right now. It all depends on what part of the country you are in. But let's say if you're in New York, Boston, or Eastern Coast, or on the West Coast, the going rate is somewhere between $55 to $75. If you have worked on 3 projects, 4 projects already, then put yourself into the $75 per hour, category. And let's say if you are getting into it, but if you have done all the assignments which I want you to do, then expect yourself to be in the $55 to $60 range, provided you do the interview good. So in the interview, they would be asking you questions, and trust me on this one. I can guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. You come back and you say that, oh, come on, this training did not help me. I want one person to come back and tell me that this training did not help me. I mean, I guarantee you 101% this training is going to help you in a huge big way, right? So pat yourself on the back for being here, and commit yourself for the next 4 weeks. Tata bye-byes to your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your husbands, and your wives for the next 4 weeks, because I need 100% dedication, right? And we both will put this effort and make it happen. All right, so let's get started. Selenium, how can we prepare our machine to start working on Selenium? A lot of things that we need to do to have our machines ready to do Selenium. Number one, what is the purpose, right? Why are we even using Selenium? If you take a look, let me just bring up any application up here. Doesn't matter whether it is Amazon.com, whether it is Google.com, whatever.com, right? Let me give you a very, very simple example, and we start off slow, and then we will jump on to some complex stuff. So if I take you to a site that is a little bit easier to understand, probably it'll make sense. Okay, now do you understand and do you agree with me that any site, right, doesn't matter whether it is what kind of a domain it is, whether it is a banking domain, whether you go to Citibank or Bank of America, whether you go to Wells Fargo, or any financial application, banking application, right? Or let's go into any retail. Retail meaning like if you go to Amazon.com, eBay.com, Priceline.com, any site you have something called login, right? Authentication. So our site also have authentication here, right? So let's say they have completed this module, right? In the requirements, it is when a user enters his phone number and his password and clicks on the submit button, he or she should be able to log into the system. So that's my test case now. All right, that's my test case. So that test case manually was done, and we have to automate it. We have to not only automate it, and we have to kind of like use hundreds of different sets of data to make sure that it is working, or go and break it, right? Go and break it. Now the question is, how are we going to break it? I mean, you have to try different times. Now, at different times, are you going to be trying with the same set of data? Absolutely not. You would be trying with different sets of data. So, are you going to enter that different set of data manually? Heck, not. I mean, that will be totally be defeating the purpose of testing, because you have to get into automation. And Selenium is nothing but it is a bunch of classes, right? It is some software, right? And now I'm not trying to give you a technical definition of Selenium. For a technical definition of Selenium, you could go to Wikipedia, right? And then you could get a technical definition of Selenium. Now, I'm just trying to talk to you as a layman at this time, hour one of this course. Now, as we progress in this course, we'll be trying to use more of the technical jargon at that time. But at this time, if you need to understand, if you're a manual tester, or for that matter, if you're getting into testing, you have finished your manual testing course and you want to know what Selenium is, or let's take a different scenario where you have been working in automation but with a different tool. Now you want to get into Selenium. So what is Selenium? Selenium is nothing but it's some software classes that you will put it to use, right? To do what? To do some automation testing. So guys, some smart guys, they wrote those classes. So what are those classes? Let me take you to this site, seleniumhq.org. So when you go to seleniumhq.org, this is kind of like a Bible of Selenium, meaning that a lot of information you could get it over here of Selenium. And anytime you want to download anything, you got to be coming to this website. And you don't really have to remember the name or the URL or the address of the website. You just Google it, just say Selenium download, and then it brings you here to this website. So what is Selenium? Selenium, a lot of people, they say that Selenium is a tool, right? I mean, like QTP is a tool, right? QTP is a tool. Selenium is an open source, meaning that there is no commercial licensing for it. You don't really have to pay anybody, unlike QTP, where you have to go and then pay like thousands of dollars to get the license of QTP so that you could do the testing. Now that is one of the huge reasons for people and companies flocking around Selenium, because it is free, right? Now there's another misconception about something which is free might not be of value. That was put to rest with a company of the magnitude of Google trying to embrace and trying to adapt and trying to utilize this powerful free software. And they have given such a boost to Selenium that many other big Fortune 500 companies started following the trend, and that they are using Selenium for automated testing. So now that Selenium has got some strong legs, meaning it is being used by many companies. Now, when they say it is being used, who uses Selenium? People, right? You and me. We have to learn Selenium to put it to use. Now, Selenium is being used. A lot of companies, because of it being free, they want to use Selenium, but then there are not that many people who know Selenium. If you go out on the street and say that, hey, I'm looking for QTP, 10 guys would run at you and say that, not literally, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's nothing like you would go on the street and then look for QTP guys. But when you say that, if you go to dice.com, if you're a company, if you go to dice.com, if you're a company, if you go to monster.com and put an ad saying that I'm looking for QTP guys, you'll have like 20 resumes coming to you in like first 2 hours, right? So imagine, so if I am basically one of the guys looking for a QTP job, now I have to defeat the 19 other guys to get the job if there's only one position. If there are 2 positions, they have to beat at least 10 guys to get into that place. Now, not the same for Selenium. There's not that high competition in Selenium, meaning that not that many people know Selenium. So if you know Selenium good, then it is very easy for you to find opportunities. Now, I'm not trying to sell anything here. Well, it doesn't matter if you learn it or not. I mean, how does I get benefited out of it? Probably like $300-400, big deal. But how about you on the other side? That's a lot of money you would be getting. And forget about the money. You would be, basically be enhancing your skills. Now you know a high-end skill set you have that you possess, and that is going to, bring up your value very high in the industry. So you're better off learning Selenium than not learning it, right? Again, I'm not trying to sell you, but that's what it is. Okay. So in order to prepare your machine to use Selenium, how would you do it if it was QTP? Well, you would have downloaded QTP software from HP, right? Or maybe we would have given you a link to download it, and then you would have downloaded it, you would have installed it, right? Installation of QTP would take about a good 5-7 minutes and all that. Here in Selenium, it is an open source. You're paying nobody. You're not paying HP, who is the owner of QTP. But in this case, you're not paying anything. I mean, the fact that they want you to donate, it's up to you. I mean, because there are a lot of smart guys, a bunch of guys trying to work on it. So probably they need to have some coffee and some donuts or whatever, and then they have spent enough from their pocket, and then they need your money. So if you feel like donating $5, $10, go ahead, do that. I'm not going to put a number to it. So you are feeling to donate more, go ahead, do that, right? I mean, occasionally, I have done that. So I would encourage you, whatever it is, do it if you want to. But if you say that, okay, let me first get a job and make a living out of Selenium, then I'm going to come back and donate, that's fine. Do that as well. Okay, so coming back to preparing your machine, this is the third time I said that, right? Coming back to preparing my machine for Selenium. Okay, so how do I prepare my machine so that I could run Selenium? Okay, for that, Selenium comes in basically in three different modes. There is something called Selenium IDE, Selenium IDE, and then there is Selenium RC server, and then there is Selenium WebDriver. So let's say this is IDE, and this is RC server, and this is WebDriver. Now, my focus is here. The whole course should and must be about WebDriver, because that's what is being used in the industry right now, and that's where you should focus. Now, you cannot get into WebDriver unless and until you have a good knowledge of the other two, right? So what do you mean by good knowledge of the other two? You have to have an idea, some idea of what the heck is IDE. What is IDE? Why should I even know about IDE, right? Likewise for RC server as well. Now, we will not spend our whole course on IDE, right? We'll not do that. Neither we're going to spend our whole course on RC server. There was a time, if you had taken a course with me, let's say in the year 2011, I was doing a lot of RC server, very little of WebDriver, because WebDriver was just coming out at that time, right? But today, WebDriver is pretty strong. Nobody is kind of like, focusing much on RC server. Now, sometimes I get a question, if nobody is focusing on that, can you like totally take it out of your course content altogether, right? What's the point in like, even covering 1 or 2 sessions? Why would even you spend like 1 session or 2 sessions when it is not being used? Now, here is my justification for that. Many a times, the guys who recently got, when I say recently, meaning that in the past 8 months to a year, who got into Selenium, they occasionally people come back, and not that I'm looking for it, but they feel that they should come back and at least as a courtesy give me a call and thank me. So they do that, and so while we are chit-chatting, once they get a job and they call me back and they say that, well, you know what, you did a good job in explaining as RC server, because they still use RC server. That was the comment from at least good percent of the folks who had called me back and who had said that they are still using RC server in some of the projects. So our new work is WebDriver, but the previous scripts are still being supported into RC server, so they have not completely migrated into WebDriver, because it's an effort. I mean, whether you're creating WebDriver, whether you're creating RC server, when you write the code, it takes away, a lot of your time. So the investment that was made in RC server is still being utilized. So you have to have some knowledge of RC server. That's what we will try to do. But again, my focus again is WebDriver. That's what I would be focusing on. So we can do 2 things. Either we can put it off to the last day 7. I can cover this in day 7. Or I could cover it in like day 3 and then day 2, and totally be done with it, right? So if I cover it in day 2, then WebDriver will start in day 3. If I cover this in day 7, then WebDriver will start day 2, right? So we have to make that decision, and we will do that, and we will cover it. Pooja, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay, Naz, I appreciate your feedback. Naz is a very good student of ours. She has been around for some time, and she suggests that kick that RC server to day 7, please. I do not want to deal with RC server, so just put it off to day 7. Alrighty, so we will see what we can do that. Who just says that do that, just kick it off to day 7, and let's start off with WebDriver. Okay, so we will start off with WebDriver on day 2. So today I'm going to prepare you your machine to do Selenium, and in order to do Selenium, you have to know about IDE. So that's where we are starting off today, right? So Selenium comes in 3 forms, as you can see: Selenium IDE, Selenium RC Server, Selenium WebDriver. Now you would say that why 3 forms? Why there is redundancy? Why they cannot just settle down with one of them and then use it, right? Okay, so here is the deal. Selenium IDE, it is used only for record and play, meaning that using Selenium IDE in its default mode, unless you want to write some code to enhance the functionality of IDE and prepare it to do things, you shouldn't be doing that. So just use it out of the box. Out of the box, Selenium IDE can do the following. It can help you record your scripts. It can help you record your scripts, and then you could run the script. So if you do not ever want to learn about Java, right, then you could still be doing Selenium, but using IDE. I have a 0, right, or probably negative, right? What can be less than 0 or negative? I have negative respect for somebody who claims themselves to be, knowledgeable in Selenium and then not know anything but IDE. I have absolutely no respect for that, because you are totally defeating the purpose of using Selenium as an automated testing tool, because there's nothing that you could be doing, nothing much you could be doing with IDE in terms of conditional logic. If you have to parameterize, if you have to basically go and fetch the data from Excel and pass it to your script, IDE would not let you do that. IDE would not let you do that. So you have to, in that case, there is no choice but to go and use either RC server or use WebDriver. So now let's talk about, since we already addressed the limitations of IDE, the limitations of IDE is it cannot do conditional logic. It cannot do, if this is the case, then I want to run this part of the script. Else run this part of the script. No, you cannot do that in IDE. You cannot connect to external repository like Excel or some database like Oracle or Sybase or Informix or DB2 or SQL Server. You cannot do that in IDE. So limitations of IDE, right? So, but it is good to know that IDE can do certain things, and that's what we'll be learning about IDE today. All right, so that's IDE. Now fast forward to RC Server and WebDriver. Why do we have a choice there? Well, before WebDriver, the RC Server was the only way, right? So a lot of companies, if they wanted to do parameterization of data, connecting to external resources, doing some conditional logic statements, doing some for loops, doing some, things like that. Then, since there was no WebDriver, so they were using RC Server for that, and RC Server brings in one extra part, which I will be talking about like probably in day 7, wherein that's an external piece, that's an RC server that has to be started and that has to be continuously be running in order for you to execute your script. Now WebDriver, being the latest and the greatest, doesn't need all that extra layers, right? So You just instantiate, you just use WebDriver as an object of a particular type, the type being the browser, meaning that you will have a WebDriver of an Internet Explorer type. You'll have a WebDriver of Firefox type and a WebDriver of Chrome type, and then you could be doing your things. All right. So our focus today is IDE. So let's concentrate on here. With this, that we will be coming and doing this probably tomorrow and covering this on day 7, RC server on day 7. So this WebDriver will be starting off, let's say, tomorrow. All right. Okay. So today the focus is IDE. Okay. So in order to prepare my machine, I have to go and download IDE. So where am I going to go and download IDE? All right. So for that, you're going to go to Google and say download Selenium IDE. When you do that, download, let's say, Selenium IDE. Whether you say Selenium or Selenium IDE, it's going to bring you back to the same website. Okay. In this website, you will find that there are Selenium IDE, there is Selenium RC server, the Selenium RC server, and then there is Selenium WebDriver, right? So WebDriver, right? So this is WebDriver. So I will come back. Just hold on to your thought. I'm coming back to you in a second. So we will come back for the RC server on day 7. We will come back here probably tomorrow. Today my focus is here, Selenium IDE. All right. So today we'll be covering this part of this site. Okay. Now let me take some questions. We have some. This, after all, this is an interactive session, so I have to take questions. When will this class be uploaded? I already know what's going on in your head, Nick. You just can't wait to get out of this session. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. The video will be uploaded. It usually takes about like an hour to process the video. So the session is going to be over 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully by 2:30 the video should be uploaded. So usually in an hour and a half the video should be uploaded. So yeah, have fun at the appointment. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Let's see who has a question. Okay, so Nick, I answered your question. So yeah. All right, so I see you tomorrow. So compared to QTP, what is the good things about Selenium tool? One of the good things about Selenium tool is, as I said, it is free. Number one, it is free. Okay. Now free is good. Free is good. Now. Number 2, QTP is a paid tool. So if QTP is a paid tool, every tool has got its good and bad, the pros and cons. The pros or the good things about QTP is, it's a paid tool, so you basically have, what do you call, a lot of features built into it compared to Selenium. Selenium is a lot of moving parts. You have to do a lot to make things work in Selenium. It's not going to be, like a walk in the park. Just install like you do in QTP and things would start working. You would, at times, you would find it a little bit of a challenge to bring in, everything and, make sure that they all work because you have some bits and pieces to collect. And as I said, there are many moving parts in this engine, so you got to bring in certain little things. As an example, to give you an example, in QTP, there's a feature called Object Spy. Now, Object Spy, it is built in to the QTP tool. In Selenium, there is nothing like an Object Spy, so you have to go someplace, download something, and then install it on your browser and do that. And I'll be showing you all things like that. Another interesting point is in QTP you have what is called object repository, right? So meaning you will be putting things into the object repository, and you will complete your code. When you say browser, it goes, and when you have the open parentheses, it goes and gets the name of that object from the object repository. Then you do a dot page, and it gets from the object repository. When you do a dot web edit, and then if you have like 5 web edits, it gives you. So QTP kind of like makes it a little easy, but at the same time, the limitations or the drawbacks, I have at least one project which we were working on, where we really started literally cursing QTP, is because, and this is going back at least 3 years, I guess. We were working for one of the projects for, I think it was a subsidiary of AT&T. So we were using QTP. So a lot of objects were in the object repository. And I mean, you could blame our group for not kind of like backing up and all that. But there will be a time if you do not back up your object repository, and if for whatever reason, if your object repository gets corrupted, then the whole project falls off, because every time you're using the object from the object repository, and the object repository is like corrupted or for some reason got deleted or whatever, right? So now the script is worth nothing. Now that is not the case in case of Selenium. So Selenium does not deal with object repositories, right? So it's all scripting. Like what we do, descriptive programming in QTP, we right off the bat in Selenium, you will be writing code, and that code is all about similar to descriptive programming. It's not same syntax or what, but it is pretty similar to that. So there is no question of any corruption of your object repository, because there is none, right? So that's a good thing. Now, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, again, that's debatable, but it is good in the sense that, okay, you are not losing your project because your object repository got corrupted. There's nothing like that. So you are right from the beginning, you're using kind of like a descriptive programming. There's nothing like a descriptive programming in Selenium, so it's all scripting. So tomorrow you will find me doing intense scripting. I will get started. I will introduce you to the following. I'll talk about because any test you write, in that test you will be using variables, right? You will be using in that test. I mean, when I say you will be using, we are talking about a professional real life project, and any test case would be written using variables in it, right? And using probably arrays in it. So there will be single dimensional arrays, there will be multi-dimensional arrays. So we got to be knowing as how to create those arrays, how to fetch data from those arrays, and then we'll be writing functions. So tomorrow you'll see me writing some functions. And when we are talking about functions, the functions are not just simple functions. Functions can take arguments, can take parameters. So when they take parameters, the functions can also be overloaded. So we will be discussing about what is overloading of functions. Now you might say that, what is he talking about? What is he talking about? And nothing is making sense to me right now. He just keeps talking about arrays. He's talking about functions, overloaded functions. Well, I bet you at the end of tomorrow's class, if you are not confident enough that you have not only learned it, I mean, you will have so much of knowledge that you could be going out and teaching those things. And that's a guarantee from me. That is a guarantee from me that you would be learning it from the point of view that it will sink into your head, and it will sink in there for a long time, provided you don't have an appointment and you don't have to leave like what Nick did today. He would be watching the video and he would be upset with me. Okay, he told me earlier itself that he had to leave. Anyway, so let us come back and talk about the IDE. So here is the IDE. We have to download the IDE first, right? So okay, so little bit explanation of what IDE is. Again, if you see here, Selenium IDE is a Firefox plugin. Meaning Selenium IDE will work only with Firefox. Now, what if you have Internet Explorer? What if you have Google Chrome? That means that Selenium IDE will not work with Google Chrome and will not work with Internet Explorer? Surprise, surprise. The answer is yes, it will not work. It will not work with Google Chrome. It will not work with Internet Explorer. It will not work with Opera. It will not work with Safari. So it won't work. So here is right here, Selenium IDE, there is a limitation. So you got to be learning RC server and WebDriver. RC server is coming on day 7. Pooja wanted it on day 7. Naz wanted it on day 7. Some of you folks wanted it on day 7. So we'll be doing it on day 7. But coming tomorrow, we'll be getting into WebDriver. So because of the limitations of IDE. But let's get to know IDE. What IDE can do, let's get to know. Even with Firefox, if we have to use IDE, how can we use it? Since it's a Firefox plugin, you got to make sure that you come here, you come to this website with Firefox. Here is my Firefox. I have Internet Explorer. I have Google Chrome. We'll be doing our testing in all these 3 browsers, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox. But today I'm using Firefox. Why I'm using Firefox? Because Selenium IDE works only with Firefox. So let's get going here, right? Let's see how to use the Selenium IDE with Firefox. Since it's a plugin of Firefox, I have to download it using Firefox. So how can I download using Firefox? This is what I have to do, right? Now, if you go under tools, right? And if you see right now, one second, if you see right now, you will find that I already have this Selenium IDE. I already downloaded it. But let's make believe that I have not, right? So how to download it? Because I'll do it again. So to download it, if you see here, download the latest release, which is 2.4.0. So let us come and then click on this one. When you click on this one, Firefox will come back and say, hey, you're trying to download something, and this you're installing it on your computer. Do you want to allow this to happen? It will say that yes. So I don't want you to blink your eye because it might take that much of a time to install it. It's not like it's going to take like 5 minutes or 7 minutes. You know, by the time you blink your eye, the installation probably is going to be over, right? Actually, not that fast, but let's see what happens. So even though I already have it installed, but I'm still going and installing Selenium IDE, which happens to be the plugin of Firefox. That's why I have to come here using Firefox, and I click here on 2.4.0, and then it said, do you want to allow it? Yes, I do want to allow it. And when I do that, it's going to come back and ask me some more. Okay, so it is adding on, and here it is coming back and asking me, by the way, this software is trying to do the following. It is trying to install Ruby formatter, Python, C#, and if you scroll down, your Java formatter. Do you want to install it? Right? Okay. Now, I think when we started off the session sometime in the first 5 minutes or so, I did mention that Selenium can be used. Selenium as an automated testing tool can be used by different programming languages, meaning that you can write the scripts in Java, in C#, in Perl, or in Python, right? In Ruby, right? So all that. So it is saying that you want all of them. Yeah, and then I'll take it. So install now. So it is done. Believe it or not, it is done. And it says that restart. Is it restarting your machine, your computer? No. It is restarting my browser. Restart the Firefox. I'm going to do that. Let us see what happens. I restart. It goes down 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, right? 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds, probably 3 Mississippi. It's back. It's back. And lo and behold, you would see here Selenium IDE installed on your machine. In my case, it was already installed. It might have upgraded it. I might have an older version of it. It might have upgraded it. So this is what it takes to install Selenium IDE. So if you have Firefox on your machine, would you be able to do it right now? Not that, all the time I want you to be interactive and then do things while we are in the session. But since it took like 30 seconds to do it, probably you should be able to do it. Now, if you say that I don't see Firefox on my machine, then I would say, please go ahead and download Firefox. You say, where should I download Firefox? I say that Google. Go to Google and say, download Firefox. It will come back and say that, Firefox right now is in version what? Now, if you see, mine is 22. Probably it is 24. The latest is 24. Doesn't matter. Download it. Download it. So at this point, am I wrong in saying that you all know as how to download Selenium IDE on your machine? Yes or no? You all know it, right? Have you done it? Probably some of you would say that, I have already installed it. Some of you would say that, I am going to do it after the session. That's fine. That's fine. But do it. There are a few things in here. Bharat, I will answer your question as we go along. I will answer your questions. I see that you've asked a couple of things in here. See, Alba says that got it, easiest tool to install. I mean, trust me, Alba, I have to tell you this. By the end of this course, you will feel very confident of Selenium, provided you put in the effort. You have to put in the effort. You have to. We all have to put in our effort, and you will be masters of Selenium. That is my guarantee. My guarantee. A lot of people have made big money getting after doing this course, and why should you lag behind? Why should anybody lag behind? Why 2014 should not be the best ever year professionally for us, right? I mean, there is nothing important than your health, so we always pray for the health, and then the next in line is your wealth, and this is the opportunity to make some. So get into these tools. These are high-end skill sets, Selenium, SOAP UI. So get these things. And mobile testing, if you have not done mobile testing, do that mobile testing, because everything is going into the cloud, and everything will be mobile. So get into mobile as well. Naneda, I am sorry, but you can I think I have been sending out emails, quite many this time, with the timing being Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyways, the good thing about using the latest technology is the session is being recorded right now. So even if you got in a little late, you could always go back and watch the stuff that you have missed. And literally, you have not missed much. It was just, some brief introduction, some talking and all that, right? So the real stuff is starting now, where we have just concluded downloading Selenium IDE. So let's put that Selenium IDE to use. Now, what is the purpose of Selenium IDE? The purpose of Selenium IDE is it can help automate a test. So let's come up with a test. So here is the test. I think we just talked about what our test is going to be. Our test is going to be the following. Here is the test case. The test case is manually they have done this. They have done what? Manually they have the test case should be when you come in and enter when a user comes and enter his phone number and his password, when he clicks on submit, he should successfully log into the application. So that's one test case. The other test case is a new customer, when click on sign up, should be able to create a new account, right? So when they click on sign up, so they should be able to create a new account. Now, let me take you a little bit into the functionality of this application, only because I can show you the in and out of it, right? Now, if you're going into any other authentication and authorization module, right? The way an authentication and authorization module works is You have a UI piece. This is the user interface. Then you have some business logic that would kick in as a layer in between. And then you have the data layer. So any functionality, the way when you see something, we see only one part of it. The part which we are seeing here is, okay, you have a screen, you have a user interface, and in the user interface they are asking you for the username, and when you enter the username, and when you enter the password, and when you click on this, basically it is, let's say this is the home page, right? This is the home page. It takes you to your, let's say, to your my account page, right? Let's say it takes you to my account page. Now, when does it take you? When you are successfully logged in, right? Now, when you are successfully, that means that there should be some way of testing that whatever username you entered, whatever password you entered is correct, and that should then only it should take you there. So basically the way it is when you enter the username and password, that information is taken to your server, right? To your server. On your server, there will be some logic written here, right? Some code which will be written here. What it will do, it will take your username and it will take your password and check against, there is going to be some database. It will check inside the database. That inside a database, what is there? There is some table, right? Like members or whatever. And there will be username, password. So it will go in and check, is there a username like this? Is there a password like that? If it is there, then it will send you to this page. If it is not there, then it will send you to another page saying that no customer found by that address, something like that, right? So that's the logic that the programmers have written, and we have to check it. We have to test it. So manually, if I am doing it, manually I am going to do it this way, right? I will enter that is the phone number that I entered. I'm entering some password, right? And when I click on submit, now notice what is happening here. It says, oh, we are sorry. No matching profile found for the username and password combination. Please try again. So maybe it's a mistake that I put a wrong password. Or I know that it's a right password. So it is saying that click here to retrieve it. So that is another functionality which we have to test. And then they say that maybe you're not even a member here. So if you are a new member must register by clicking on this link, right? So that's three things in here, right? So we'll come to it step by step. Let us go back in here. And see that when you enter the username and password, when you click on that, it went there. So that's a manual test, right? Okay. Now, behind the scenes, this number and this password needs to be checked in a database, right? So this is what I have done. I only, for the sake of showing you how this works, I will take you to my server in my system. So this is, we are hosting it from a server in California. I'm sitting here in New Jersey. My server is in California. So I have here, see here, there is TR customers. So if I go and do a query, select star from TR customers, right, and run this, it'll show me all my customers. See here, all my customers, it is showing me, right? All those people who have access to it, they are getting displayed here, right? So if you see here, I will go and I will take someone from here. I gotta know Jack, right? Jack Lemon. So this is his phone number. I'm going to take his phone number. I don't know his password, so let us cheat. Password is password. Okay. So we come in here. So I am going to put his phone number and I will put his password and I will go in here. Jack Lemon, right? Displaying information from automation testing resource management system for the following phone number 212-333-4444. Jack Lemon is that, and this is the lemon, is the profile. Now they could do the following. You could go into some things you can use, like you can go in and then use the different web services for testing. You can use our ePay system web services, all these web services you can use, and you can look into whatever, right? So this is another one, global network reservation system, whatever, right? So he could do that because he logged in, right? He logged in. So if I log out, log out is not working, right? So if I log out, let's say, so that's a bug that you have to go and you have to say that, okay, there is a problem. Okay, so let us come back here. And if I do this, right, 732-998-6650, and I do this password, right, and enter, it is not going, right? As you can see, it is not going because it's not there in my database. It's not there in my database. If I do where cust hm phone equals 732-998-6650. Let me see if there is any like that. There is nothing in my database. All right, nothing in my database, so that's why it did not come up. Okay, now basically, you and I as testers, we need not know the back-end details of what is happening, in the database, this and that. We don't really have to worry about that, right? Bharat, I'll come to the answer to that in a minute. So now the question is, basically, what do we have to worry about? Selenium is used for GUI testing, for a front-end testing. Selenium is used, right? Indirectly, Selenium is also used for the back-end testing, for the web services. You would say, how is it used for web services? Now, if you take a look here, if you look into new customers can create an account here. When I click on this, right, it brought me here, right? It brought me here. Now, this is the UI. This is the user interface where I'm supposed to enter the name, the last name, email address, this. And when I say submit, this is a UI, user interface. The logic, the way this is going to work is it will call a web service. The web service will read all this information and store the information in the database. So that's the business logic layer, BLL, right? There is a GUI layer, right? In an N-tier architecture, what happens is there is a GUI layer. This is the graphical user interface. All this intelligence, which is to check if the number, if the phone number is there in the database, if the password is there in the database, and that is your logic. The logic sits in what is called a BLL, business logic layer. And then to check in the data, this is the data access layer, right? BAL. So GUI, BLL, BAL. So in a N-tier architecture, you have a GUI, you have a front end GUI, you have a business logic layer, and then you have a data access layer. Now there is also something called MVC, right? Model, view, and controller. The view basically about that, right? Now you have MVC, right? The view is about that. This is the new way of creating your applications. Now the idea here is we are not going to check the business logic layer. We are not going to check the data access layer. So I'm not going to check the model and the controller. We are doing the view, right? So the view is the GUI. So this Selenium is going to check the GUI testing. Now, but the whole architecture the whole system, the way the system is written is, from the GUI, we just capture the data and we pass the data to the business logic layer. And the business logic layer will hand over the data to data access layer. So that's how internally it is made up of. So by you testing it, and if it is when you enter the input, when you enter certain input, right, you are expecting certain output to come back. If that doesn't come back, then you mark the test as a fail. So you don't go into what might have went wrong here, what might have went wrong here. That is basically your developer to worry about, what went wrong here. That's not our goal. Now, this is a black box testing. If it is a white box testing, if we are going to test every piece of this, every piece, every layer of it, right, then we could do that as well. That could be more of a part of the acceptance testing, where you could go and then look into everything, integration testing, where you could. So our way of doing it, we are doing basically the GUI testing, where we are going to test. I enter something, am I getting the right data back, the response back or not? All right. Okay. So here we will go ahead, and if you see here, I am signing up right now, and then we will do both the test cases here. So when I sign up, right, so I come in here, and let's say I just for the sake of okay, I'm not entering his last name. Usually not usually, many a times I don't enter anybody's last name here. At Gmail, right? Password, I use this password. I use this password. Home phone number, let me see, 718-555-1212. Cell phone number is 212-555-1212, and instruction is we are testing authentication and authorization module. Okay, now that password is password 718. I just need to remember this, so just copy that. It's easy for me to test it. Okay, so now, as a matter of fact, just so that you see here, it's not there in the database, empty. All right. Okay, so now behind this, I'm using an API. I'm using a web service to do what? This is the UI part of it, GUI. It will hand over to the business logic, right? And there I have a web service that is inserting the data into the database. So when I click on that, if I get a response saying that customer information added successfully, now I can just go here and make sure that it did add it successfully. Now I will go in the front end to check, right, if I can go with this information and what it is going to give me that, right? Okay, so this is all manual testing, and the next thing is we will automate this. So when I do that, it says, right, last name is Nick, right, customer phone number is that, last name is that, and he could go into the QTP test bed, Selenium test bed, load runner test bed, and SOAP UI, right? He could do all that, right? Okay, now let's say I have to go and I have to do the testing here and making sure that it is working. It is working, right? So, but manual test I just did. I did a case where we tested it for, right, and I put the password and it did not, there is no account, so it said that, right? Okay, good. Then we come back here, and then now we put with the right account, right, with the right account information, and then this is the right account information, and then with the right password, and it is doing that, right? Okay, very good. Now the same test I need to automate. I need to automate the test. How can I automate the test? In QTP, you will bring the QTP and you can record it and all that. Likewise, in Selenium, you could do that. Recording of Selenium is limited to which browser? That was the question. Now, okay, so Pooja is definitely awake. Definitely Pooja is awake. I don't know about 17 other people. Okay, I know, okay, 3 now. 3 people. Naneta, Bharat, 17 minus 3 is what? 14. So, Veronica, okay, 4. Still 10 more to go. Archana, 5. You 6. Tunde, hello. Okay, Alba, only 5. Excellent, excellent. Now, for those of you who are not participating, have a cup of coffee. If it is too early at your place, just get some coffee, but I want you to participate, right? It helps two ways. It helps me, right, for a couple of seconds to take a pause, because did you ever, or probably you might have, I mean, most of you might have, right, but did you continuously talk for like two and a half hours? Did you continuously? Now, that's the case with me. Most of the time, the session runs into like 2 hours, 10 minutes and 2 hours, 15 minutes, and am continuously talking for that time. So by asking you a question, it will give me a rest for a few seconds. So I want you to participate. Okay. So coming back, automation or record and run will only work in Firefox browser. So let's record and run. Let's record and run. Let's create a new test case for our Selenium IDE. First of all, let's open Selenium IDE. Where is Selenium IDE? In order to run Selenium IDE, first of all, you have to install it. We have concluded the installation. So let's put it to use. Tools, Selenium IDE. Click on that. And here is your Selenium IDE. It opens up. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Selenium IDE over here. Right. Okay. If you see here, like any other tool, it has got the menu items on the top. These are the menu items on the top. Right. And then there is something called a base URL. Base URL is the address of the application that you are going to do the recording, right, or doing the testing. So I'm doing the testing of trainingride.net. So I gave the address trainingride.net. It would have been better if I said default.aspx, but trainingride.net, when I type trainingride.net, it'll bring me to this page. That's enough for me. All right. Okay. So this is the base URL. Now you see a toolbar here. Like any other software, if you go to Microsoft Word, if you go to Excel, you have the same things. You have like the menu items on the top. You have the toolbar. Toolbar is basically for kind of like shortcuts, right? Many things that you can do from the menu items can also be done from the toolbars, but it's more like a shortcut rather than doing two things. Like if I want to save it, I will go to File and Save and all that. Here you can just do one click, and if I want to run it, I can just go and then click on it every time. So I'll come and then talk about these things later on. Let's see what we have on this side. There is a left side. There's a left side, and then there is a right side. On the right side, there are two parts. There's a top part, and then there is this bottom part, right? Okay. Now let us concentrate on this left side first. What goes on the left side? Basically, what goes on the left side is your test. If I maximize it, allow me to maximize the same thing, just become bigger here, right? So let me do that. Okay. Here there is right now there is an untitled test case. It's an empty test case, but an untitled one. So let's give it a name. So this test case, if I save it, say file, save test case as. Save test case as. So I'm gonna save it, and when I do that, it is by default it took me into this one, C drive Selenium IDE test. Let me for a second here take you into my machine and show you how I kind of like organize my machine. If you see on my machine, We do majority of the trainings here, and this machine is only used for the training purpose. So you find a lot of trainings in here. There's an advanced PPT training, there's an Android development training, there's a .NET training, there's a GitHub training, and kind of like keep a vision, like in the next year what I'm gonna offer. So I was thinking of like offering this is for the big data. So probably I'm going to do it sometime next year. So these are those things. But anyway, let us come to Selenium. Over here, Selenium. So I have created all of these folders. I've created a Selenium folder. Inside Selenium folder, I just want to organize my stuff. So I created a folder called all jars, right? And what is a jar? Why do we need this? I'll come to that probably in tomorrow's class. I'll talk about the jars, all that. But if you see here, there's a lot of things that we'll be putting in here, different versions of Selenium and Maven and all that good stuff. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But over here, I have another folder called IDE test cases. So in the previous classes, we have done so many test cases like in month of June, January, December, April, May, March, right? So different test cases and all that. So I will save it over here. So I'm going to call it, this is going to be what? This is going to be PC underscore 001. And this is a training right underscore login test case. Right? Okay. When I hit save, just keep an eye here on the left side. Here it is. That's a one test case. This is a test case. Now, I have it as empty. I have not created this test case. How can I create a test case? I can type whatever I need to do, or I can record it. Now, believe it or not, I will just make it smaller here because I want to work on my screen. Believe it or not, this is what I want to record, right? And if you bring your mouse here, what does it say? Now recording. Click to stop. So whenever you start a new test, it's already in the recording mode. It's already in the recording mode. If you want to, because I did not do anything in here, so that's why I did not record anything here. So if I start recording, if I come in here and start recording, you will find these commands or these lines getting populated here, So let me come in here, right? So I already mentioned my training right website where it has to go. And let us do this. So over here, I will enter this number, right? So 718-555-1212. You would say that the number is already there while you're entering because I want the test to record that, right? 718-555-1212. Okay. Then I come into password. And I type the password. Uppercase PASSW0RD is my password. This is the second line I did. And the third action which I'm performing is clicking on this submit. So I click on submit right now. Once I click on submit, I see this. I see customer profile off. Customer profile off. If I see this customer profile, or I'm doing some sort of verification. I'm doing some sort of assertions or verification. I'm validating that I successfully logged in. How can I validate that I successfully logged in? If I see customer profile off, right? And his last name, we call it last name. So that's why it is saying customer profile off last name. Or if I see customer phone number, and if I see whatever it is, if I see this, if it shows me here, so this is my verification point. So I can come in here and I can highlight this, and notice what I'm doing. I am creating a checkpoint. I'm doing an assertion. I'm doing a validation. I'm verifying. Now you are saying that this guy had used 4 words here: verification, checkpoint, assertion. What is he doing? Okay, let's see what I'm doing. What I want to verify here, right, is am I successfully logged in or not? How would I know if I am successfully logged in or not? If I see this number, the number that I have entered, if that it says customer phone number, that means that I successfully logged in. So I will pass my test case. If I did not successfully log in, it will not show this, so I will fail this, right? Okay, so how can I record it? How can I record it in my, because right now everything is being recorded, right, through the IDE. How can I record it? Just highlight the text, right click on that, and just take a look what it is saying here, right? It says here assert, verify, store, assert, store. Now, if you see the whole thing, assert text, verify text, store text. Now, let us understand the difference between assert and verify and store. Okay, store means that it is going to capture that data. It is going to read that data and it will store the data. In order to store, you have to have a variable. You have to have some variable where you can store. Now, a variable is a programming word, right? But what does that mean in simple English? So somebody is giving you something and you have to take it and put it somewhere, right? So if somebody gives you, let's say, an expensive thing like a a ring or a bracelet or I don't know what, you fill in the blank, right? So you just don't take it and then throw it on your dashboard on your car, or you just put it on your on your desk, right? So you keep it in a safe place, probably like in a box or something, right? So the container where this value is going is called a variable in programming. So when you take something, when you take a value, you put it into a container. That container, that storage where you put this stuff is a variable, right? So if I'm storing something, it has to go into a variable. Now, do I really need to store this? The idea is, maybe yes, maybe no. I'm more than storing. I'm interested in verifying, right? Verify that, is this? So verification means that, okay, this thing is there. So I am verifying for the text. I'm not verifying for the exact value. I'm verifying for the text. Just for the heck of it, right, before I go to the assert, let us look into the available command. If I click on the available command, right, now if you see my available commands here, now there's so many: assert title, assert text, assert, verify title, verify text, verify table, verify element present, right? And then you have store text, store title, store, so there are many, right? But for today, let's focus on these: verify text and assert text. Now, what is the difference between verify and assert? Both of them pretty much are doing the same thing, but the difference is, let's say if my test continues after this, if my recording, the next line is, now I'm verifying for this, verify that this text is there, and then after that I am going to click here, click there, and continuing the text. So if I go with verify, even if the test fails, but the next thing is, if I have to click on the class dates, that part will continue. So if verification fails, the following commands can still continue, but if assertion fails, assert is saying that I assert, I promise that this is what it is. So if that assertion is broken, if that assertion fails, the test stops there. It will not continue. So if you, depending on your need, you would put one of the other. So I'm going to go with the verify text. So verify, when I click on verify text, right, it is going to verify that at this position, if some text is there or not. Okay, I did all of this recording, right? And then now I'm going to stop my test. So here is my test. It is still running. I am going to click to stop recording. So I click and stop the recording. Let us look into what it has done. Okay, if you see here, now I am not touching anything in here, but as I start touching, let me just do this. As I start touching it, the values here will get displayed. So the command is open. Command is open, right? So open which page? Since we did not put default here, it was training right default. The first page was default. So it put the default.asp. Then it said type. Now type what? Right? And if you see here, it went to type is password. right? Now, if you notice, you would right here, you are looking into, there is something wrong in my script, right? The way it recorded is something wrong. Where is like it typed the password, it typed it is clicking and waiting on the submit, right? And it is verifying that text at this address to be this text. But where is the number itself to type, right? So it is making sense. So how do you, this being a very simple example, you quickly caught that error. Hopefully majority of you caught that error, right? But the way it is here you have to say this is the opening of the browser to this page. After that, we wanted to type the phone number there. So if I go back to this page and if I show you this page, so this phone number, this one, we wanted to type it. It showed in here, but we wanted to type it. So that is not here. So there are two things that you can do. You can still record that. You can still record that. So I will just reset this and I can still record that step. I can record this step. Or if you become very familiar with IDE, then you could type those commands as well. So if you have to type the command, how would you type the command? Where would you type the command? Between this open and type, you have to type another thing where you have to put this thing in here, right? Put some number here. But you don't know what is this location, right? Because how would you identify this location? You don't know. So right now, what we will do is we will just go ahead and then record it here, right? Okay, so the way I'm going to record it is I highlight my this line and I go into recording, click on recording, and I come here, right? And I will type that 718-555-1212. And let me come back here, go in and see what it did. Now, if you see here, it did type into TXT phone 718-555-1212. Let me just stop recording, right? And let me totally go away from here. Let me go to Google. Let's say I'm at Google, right? And I have to run this test. I bring it up. Let me just save it, right? Save the test case. I saved it. Now I want to run this test case. If you want to run this test case, let me just make some space to save this. If I want to run this test case, these are the buttons you would click to run that, right? This fast and slow is, right now the test is to execute very fast. If I scroll it back, it will run a little bit slow. And this is my starting point, so I should be here, but it doesn't matter wherever I am, I could be here, but still it'll go and start right from the beginning. But let's do that. And what is the difference between this and this? If you have multiple tests in here, if you have multiple test cases, like in case of a suite, if you have right now I have a login. Very soon I will have the next test case I will have is for the new login new account. So I will do a new account and then I will follow it up by a login. If I do that, then basically then I have to run the whole test suite at that time. Right now there is only one, so I will just run this one. So when I click on that, let's see what happens. I clicked on that. I'm waiting for my browser to go take me to there. And now because it is down there, I cannot even see, but I will rely on the see here, the color being changing. And then now I click on that. Now I came to the next one. And everything ran good and I have this screen. Now you would say that, no, I really want to see what it is doing, right? Well, no problem. So what we do is we go back into this Google or maybe wherever, maybe this Yahoo, right? Okay, so I will bring it up, right? And I will run this test again. When I run the test, when it goes to that page, I'll just scroll down a little bit here so that we can see. Now let us see what is happening, right? There it is. It typed that number, the password. It clicks on the submit, and lo and behold, we are here, and my test case is all good to go, all pass. So this is a single one. Now you would say that, show me where the test would fail, meaning let's change the value of this phone number. So how do you change the value of this? Now, as you click here, these things would show up in here. So if I click on the second one, notice that the command is to type. The command is to type. Target, where am I typing? I'm typing at that location. What am I typing? The value, I'm typing that. Now let me type a different value, 732.998.6650. You know that this test is going to fail because I don't have a 732.998, right? Okay, you know that it's going to fail. Now let us run this. So I am wherever I am. I am at the second page. Can I be anywhere and then run that? Yeah, absolutely, right? So we just run it now. It will go to the first page, and let me just scroll down and go to the first page so that you can see what it is entering. So it is going to enter that and click on that. And since it did not verify the text, it is not there, I am pretty sure the test failed, and it test failed at this line. Verify and then test failed. So now the test failed because it was looking for customer phone number 718-555. It did not display that, so the test is going to fail, right? So that we used a verification point where the test failed. Okay, beautiful. Now, what we just did is for a single test. Now, you would say that I have to test it for 500 of these values. Don't forget about 500. Let's do this. Right? So let me just take this, select all, and open an Excel, right? And in Excel, now for those of you who doesn't know databases or have a little problem with the databases and SQL queries and all that, we have another course. I'm shamelessly pitching the other course, but hang on for a second. You could look into, of course, I think for the SQL for Testers. SQL for Testers is that course where it's a video only course. It's about 129 bucks, and it'll let you teach everything about databases, right? So you would be very, very happy when you do that because it shows you everything about the databases. Now, for those of you folks who have taken a manual testing with us, our other trainer who teaches manual testing, she does an excellent job when it comes to SQL and all that, so you might have already learned that, or in the process of learning, depending on which batch you are enrolled into. But that's that. Okay, now let's come back here, and let us try to copy this data. Let's see. Okay, so we have some data here, right? So right, so we have some data here, right? So now we can take this data, insert, and then we'll have some column names and all that, and we'll take this data and we'll take the first name from here, last name from here, and we'll take the phone number from here, phone number, and then this is going to be the phone number. This is going to be the password. The password is somewhere here, I guess. So we'll take the password, and we can test from here to here. All this we can continuously test. Unfortunately, your IDE will not be able to do that. So that's why we have to go into either RC server or WebDriver. And WebDriver we will be starting in the next class and doing that. But now let's do a little bit more of the IDE before we call it a day. The other thing which I want to do here is I want to, let's say if it fails, right? If it fails, I want to continue with the following. I want to go ahead and let's say if it fails, and it says, so it says it failed, right? So because it is not there, so I want to go ahead and then click here to register now, right? Okay. Now the test case is if a login fails, then start off the next test case, and the next test case is what? The next test case is click to register, right? Which is the sign up. So you have to sign. Now, we are just talking here, and it's not like an interview going on, and it's not like somebody's putting a gun to your head and asking you, can you do it or not? It's not like that. It's just asking. Now, can you automate this test case in using Selenium IDE? There can be two answers to it. There can be, yes, I can. There can be no. But some of you would say that, oh, there is also a third answer. I don't know, or I can try. Well, all three answers are acceptable. So let me see how many yeses I would get. Now, again, this is not an exam. This is not like I'm going to give you a job based on this. Just give me your feeling about it. Can you automate using Selenium IDE this test case? Simple as that, right? And trust me, I'm not trying to have an opinion about you, whether, or if you say no, she or he cannot do this. No, I'm just trying to find out. Can you automate it? Can you automate it, right? So I have 17, 18 people, and I have like three answers so far. So let us see if some of you can. Pooja, you can say that, yes, I can automate, but I don't think I can put an if statement. Sure, I don't want you to put an if statement. Just this case, can you automate it? Can you automate just this one, right? Now, who is really feeling good about it? Who is feeling good about it? Like, this is a piece of cake. I can do it like anytime. Who is having that feeling right now? Because whoever is having that feeling, I'm gonna give the access of my computer to you, and you would run and you would create this for us. And I think it should not take more than 3 minutes, or the most like 5 minutes, maybe max tops, right? So who would like to do it? Now, again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but let's see. Okay, I'll give it to Padma. Padma wants to do it. Let me find Padma here. Okay, here you are, my friend. Okay, I will unmute you, and I will give the access of my machine to you. Play with it, do whatever you want to, and Padma, I will unmute you. I have unmuted you. Let me give you the access to you. Do you, let me see, 1 second. Okay, so you should have access to my machine. You take over and you talk to us and you tell us what you're doing. You have access to my machine now. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Irfan.
You're welcome. Take over.
Yeah, so to automate this particular test case, since the URL is already there, I would just go up and
no, create a new one. Create a new test case.
Yeah.
Create a new test case.
Creating a new test case. It's a new account, right? I forgot how you had it. Oh, okay. There you go. And then I just go add that. But I can just go ahead and change. Can I change the name here? You want me to drive? Okay, that's fine. Let's do it again instead of the old. Cannot change the name here. Okay. Oh, what happened? Okay. Okay. Then. And I just try to give.
Any last name is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good last name, by the way.
You copied it from your database. And then I give the passwords. And the phone.
Don't make me responsible if you start receiving tons of phone calls on that number. I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah, that's right. And then I just say submit. And stop. So you have the URL, and it took my first name, last name, email, password, home phone number, cell phone, sign up instructions. And I will just try to run this now.
Save it first, Padma, because there's a possibility if something goes wrong, if you lose everything, so save it and then you run it.
Oh, okay, okay. 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 So I just want to run this. This is just one test case. I will just use this one. Did I miss something? I think I missed something.
Yeah, you did. Because what we have done is what you just did was, first of all, I want to thank you so much. You did an excellent job here, and I really appreciate it. I wish that everybody can appreciate your effort. And basically, what you did when we were looking into this part, when it started scrolling down and gave you a green, that means that we were looking at this point and not at this point on the browser. But it did ran and showed you that point. So if you want to run it again, if you can Probably my reset is not working, but if we go away and come back to this site from somewhere, and you will see that if I just close that and then we run the test right now again, and you could see now, because you made it, because it was like that, it was covering the browser. So if you do that, it'll be showing us both the browser as well as that. And let me just put it here on the side and then run it one more time. Now, here is the deal. So we're going to be running it, and as you can see, whatever is there, whatever Padma did, it is getting inputted through the test, and it will click on the submit, and then it is added. Right? Now, excellent test case. Thank you. I appreciate it, Padma. Again, thank you so much for doing this.
No, thanks for giving me an opportunity.
All right, anytime. We still have 7 more sessions. I'm going to be bringing you back again here. All right, thank you. Okay, so now what we have seen is she created a test case for us to do a new account, right? A new account. Now, even though this is not required as a part of the backend, but I'm just showing because it's in my hand, right? This is my application that I have developed and all that. So we should be able to see what happened in the backend, whether it created that account or not. So I can go with the phone number. I don't recall what the phone number was. Let's see. That was the phone number. So I can go and search by the phone numbers, and I should have at least 2 records, because we did it more than once, I guess. So here it is. Oh, we did it 3 times. So we have 3 records now of her. Now, what are the chances that this will be the case in real life while we are testing? In the database, there is, let's say, no primary keys, no normalization done in the database. So there is no rules defined on the database that it cannot take a duplicate record. So that's why. So for the sake of testing, I allow it. So that's fine. So that we can go and then run our test cases and see what is happening. Now, in real life, there is a possibility that they might have given you access to the backend so that you could just go and run your query and see if it is doing it or not. But even if it is not, if you just look into the test case and the test case is coming back and then giving you this green, passing every time, that means that you're all good, right? Now, this is just the beginning. This is just the first day of Selenium. There is no scripting. There is no Java programming. There is nothing so far. Now, this is good to know. Selenium IDE is always good to know, but let's talk about certain limitations of it. The limitations of Selenium IDE is, what if you have to do, if I have to do the same from my Internet Explorer, right? I cannot do that. What if I have to do the same from my Google Chrome? I cannot do that. Right? So the idea here is my Internet Explorer cannot do this test, and my Google Chrome cannot do this test. The idea here is this is going to work with only Firefox. What good it is if it works with only Firefox. Now, there is a secret. There's a huge secret, right? And that secret I will discuss with you tomorrow in the next class. What you do here in less than a second can be exported to Internet Explorer, can be exported to Google Chrome, can be exported to any browser out there, whatever we have done. That secret, I'll show it to you tomorrow, right? So even though there is limitation, but there is not a limitation, because what this IDE helps you will help you forever in your career if you are going to be a Selenium person. If you want to be in Selenium, if you want to be doing testing in Selenium, IDE, there can be no better friend than IDE. Not even your wife, not even your husband, right? Because you ask your husband for some support, he's like, oh, I have a lot of work to do. I have my own stuff, right? But you go to IDE. IDE will help you as late as 2 o'clock in the night, as early as any time, 24/7. It'll help you to do whatever you ask it to do. And that secret, I'll show it to you tomorrow in the tomorrow's class. So I hope you have learned quite a bit as far as using IDE is concerned. This is the assignment for today. Assignment for today is you will go ahead, you will download IDE, you will run these 2 test cases, and you will send me a screenshot of these 2 test cases. Send me a screenshot, meaning that if you send me like this, that all good. If you send me like this is the other one, right? All good, right? Or this one fail or whatever. So if you send me this and that, 2 screenshots, then I know that, okay, for day 1, you have completed your assignment. Now, there's another assignment for day 1, and that is be ready for tomorrow's class. So how can you be ready for tomorrow's class? This is what I want you to do. In tomorrow's class, we will be covering Eclipse, right? We'll be covering Eclipse. So I want you to watch the video. I want you to watch the video, not this video. This you were already in the class, so you have already watched it, except for Nick, who went out on an appointment and will be back and watching this video. But for the rest of you folks, you have already watched the video. So if you have registered, we have already given you the videos. Watch the video of day 2, right? Watch the video where I have shown you as how to download Eclipse, how to install Eclipse, right? So tomorrow I will start off here. I would expect you to already know as how to download Eclipse and install Eclipse, and then I will be starting off in Eclipse tomorrow. Of course, I'll be showing it to some of you folks who you know, still want to know how to do that. So I will show it to you, even though you would have watched the video, but I will show it to you. So tomorrow we'll start off with Eclipse, and I will start off with WebDriver tomorrow. I am doing this time very differently from the way I usually used to do. Day 2, I cover RC server, but some of you folks wanted it to be covered like on day 7, so I have dumped it to day 7. So day 2, we will be doing WebDriver. So tomorrow we will be working off WebDriver. So I expect you to download Eclipse, install Eclipse, watch that video which will tell you how to do all that, and then we'll start off there. So let me take some of the questions. Why the record created 3 times? Padma, you ran it once. I ran it once, and probably before that you would have ran it once. And then there is no primary key in the database. I intentionally did not create the primary key on the phone number because I want students to run that. So that's why I left that. So that's the reason it allows you to do more than once. Okay. Can like QTP, can Selenium, can we record the events performs on a desktop application? Bharat, Selenium does not work on a desktop application. No Windows application. It's a totally web-based testing tool, so no application. How can you, Archana is asking a question, how can you run the test case in play mode and not have data entered in the database? This is basically the way I have designed this application, Archana, is the way I have designed this application is whenever somebody enters, whenever somebody is entering a new customer, the functionality is it should go and write it into the database. That's the functionality. That's the functionality of the new customer. So that's what I'm doing. So whenever you do that, it writes to the database. That's what it is. Now, you don't have to work on this application. If you have already registered with us, we would have shared the videos where I have shown you as how to test with this one, right? Look into this. My training right user interface, if you see the user interface is not as rich, right? The functionality is the same, sign up is the same, but it's not as rich as this TechSmith. They have hired some graphic designers and all that, so they have these boxes, kind of like making it look good. I mean, this site was designed, I shouldn't even say design. I mean, it just like overnight I came up with this, and so I'm not a graphic designer, so I don't have like good pictures and all that. But the functionality, the programming part of it is When you enter the phone number and password, click on it, it should verify against the database. When you click on a sign up, it should go into the database. Same thing is happening even here, right? If you enter whatever you enter here, we have done so many automated testing of this one. Just to give you an idea, let me take you back in here and show you one from the previous class. So file, open a test case. Let me just save this. Open a test case. And if I open a test case, let's see here. Test case, screencast, new account, build 3, let's say. If I open it, I saved it as that. Anyway, let's go and look. What am I doing? I'm saving these things there. So I need not save. I need to open. I need to open a test case. Would you like to save the test suite? Yeah, save it. Save it as training. Right. Test suite. This is select the file to open up. So this is a sign up case, right? I'm opening it up. So this is a sign up, right? So if I go and if I run this, let's see what it is going to do. So I'm running it right now. So if you look into it, it is going to open this screencast, type in the email qaonlinetrainer@gmail.com, type the password, type this is the verified password, display name is QA Online Trainer, country is Azerbaijan, and tips, they changed this, it is not there. So, and then click on the sign up button. So this test case will fail right now, right? Let it fail, but at least you will see that how it is running. So if I go in here, right? So it is connecting, it is clicking on that, and now on ID equals tips, it is looking for ID equals tips. Before, when we created this test case in the month of June 2013, there used to be a box in here where it says that can we send you emails, for tips and newsletter and all that. Now it is not there. So this old test case is failing because it is looking for that, it is not there. So what I can do, I can right click on that and I can either basically go and then delete that command. So if I delete that command and if I try to run it again, it'll run right now, but probably this one is already created. QA Online Trainer is already created. So what I will do is I will rename this QA Online Trainer to QA Online Trainer 77. And here, display name, I will also 77, or maybe 77 probably is also taken. So let me just do a 99, 99, 999. Let's say. Oh gosh, so many. 999. Okay. So let me even change the country so that you know that it is. So it's selected from a drop down. It's selected. So let me say that we are New Zealand. New Zealand. Right? I wanted to select New Zealand. So come up in here, go in here. In the country, I would say label New Zealand. I don't know if you guys watch the Lord of the Rings movie. Lord of the Rings was shot in New Zealand. And now there is next Thursday, I guess, The Hobbit is coming out. So that probably was also shot there. But that's all waste information, right? So let's come back to Selenium and do that. Okay, so I have changed it to New Zealand. I have changed it this and that. Let us run this query and see what happens in here. So let me, just for the heck of, I am going to, let's say this site. I was navigating on this site and I want to run this test case. So let us do that. When I do it, let's see what happens. It brings me here and it types that 99 New Zealand, and then it clicks and we have a new record. We have a new record. Thank you for creating screencast.com. And we could have done something here like a validation or verification for this, whether it entered this or not, but then you already know. Okay, so that's IDE in a nutshell, very quickly covered in a nutshell. So if you go and watch the videos, you will get a little more of IDE. Tomorrow when you come back, we are going to do Selenium WebDriver. So download the Eclipse, just to give you a little idea of what we are getting into. I mean, I don't really want you to get scared looking into what we have here, but just see that this is what you would be getting into as far as this course is concerned. We will be writing a lot of code. As you can see, there is these are the variables, objects, and again, Excel, reading data from Excel. So we have arrays going on here, and then we have the array list type of writing to the, and then we have this going on, and then as you can see, functions, and I'm using the for loops in that. So I'm not gonna just do a hasty job like throwing out these things at you. I will cover in a step-by-step way, meaning that you have a complete idea of what we are doing here. So every line of code, as we go ahead in this class, every line of code you would be able to understand. That's a promise from me. So you can also take this code and use it as a plug and play as far as the frameworks are concerned. So let's say 2 months from now, a month and a half from now, if you get a job, you're working in Bank of America. Now take this code, plug it in there. The minor changes you have to do is just change the address of what you are testing, and then just change the location of where your Excel file is, right? And the data in the Excel file. The rest of the code should pretty much work fine. So your assignments are critical for your learning. I cannot stress more on it. So do me a favor, always do your assignments. Never miss your assignments. I promise you an excellent course, complete transfer of knowledge from my side to you, and you all would be happy campers. That's my promise to you. With that, I will let you go and see you at what it is, 107 at 3 o'clock if you are coming back for SOAP UI. SOAP UI class starts at 3 o'clock in the evening. What are the credentials for login? All that would be after you sign in, Piyush. After you sign in, send us the assignments back to assignments, plural, assignments at trainingrite.com. Right is spelled as R-I-T-E, trainingrite.com. Send it there. And come back for the class at 3 o'clock for your SOAP UI. All right. Let's see if there's any other question. Today, come to the class at 3 o'clock and we will talk at that time. All right. Okay. Can we add a JavaScript in there? We'll be doing a lot of Java, not JavaScript, Veronica. So we'll be doing a lot of Java. Can we automate? Yeah, parameterization is done through WebDriver. Let's see. Yeah, I know Dallas, there is a storm in Dallas, so Naz, you can watch the video. Okay. What is better in WebDriver, TestNG or JUnit 4? We will be covering both, Naz. I will be covering JUnit. I will start off with JUnit, but I will do an in-depth of TestNG. TestNG, kind of like if you have to measure which is better among the two, my vote is for TestNG. TestNG has got a lot of many features compared to JUnit 4. So we will be talking about both the frameworks, TestNG as well as JUnit 4. I'll start off with JUnit 4 tomorrow, but very soon we'll catch up with TestNG, and we will be doing Ant and Maven and all that using TestNG. So, but you can do the same for JUnit as well. How can you run the test case in play mode and not have data entered into the database? I covered that. in IDE, is there a way delay pause? Yeah, you have so many things in IDE that you could do. Without getting into the details, you could just go and look into these commands. I have covered that a lot. So if you go into the commands here, let's say wait. So you have wait and wait for what, right? So many things in there. So you'll find it in some of my videos. I know this is jumping the gun. I have to work with a lot of dynamic data. So yeah, we will be using a lot of dynamic data. We'll be using not with the IDE, but we'll be using dynamic data. Watch the videos and you will see what we have covered with dynamic data coming from different repositories. And probably day 4, I will be covering the dynamic data coming from both Excel as well as from the database. Probably on day 4, definitely by day 5, I will be covering that. But if you're in a rush, just watch the videos. Alrighty. Okay. All right. I will see you guys at 3 o'clock if you're coming back for SOAP UI. If not, enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Canada Eastern Standard Time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.